Hey there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Matt, and today we're continuing the playthrough of King's Quest VI on the Wang Computing 386. Where we left off is we have managed to communicate with the princess via her little nightingale here, and she knows we're here in the land, and she knows we're trying to save her, but she's asked us not to interfere. So we're a little bit conflicted at the moment, but of course we're not just going to sail back to Daventry. We're going to give this our best shot and see if we can save her from the evil vizier. So the next part in this is we need to travel to the other islands. We've kind of exhausted the possibilities here on the mainland, or on the Isle of the Crown as they call it. So we need to see if we can collect some things and gather a bit more information from the other islands. Now at the moment, the Isle of the Beast, there's not much we can do there, but we can go to the Isle of the Sacred Mountain. And we just need to collect a couple of things off the beach before we continue. Now this island's a bit strange. It's literally just a beach, and then you've got this massive mountain. And there's this little bit of text here you can sort of see, but we can't read, just here in the middle of the screen. Now at the moment, we're just going to pick up the feather. And we're also going to pick up this flower looking thing. Alexander picks up the flower and is startled by its hideously strong skunk-like odour. For a moment, he can smell nothing else. Now, as for this bit of text here in this riddle, we're going to come back to that because we're not quite ready and we don't have all the items we need to go further. So we're going to go back to the map. And now we're going to go to the Isle of Wonder. Now, this is the island we went to in the last part. But I mentioned that we couldn't walk any further on it because we'll basically be killed, and we couldn't actually do that at the time. But now, I believe, we have enough stuff that we can kind of progress. So, let's go for a save. And then, we will see what comes up next. Alright, so this will be Matthew 8. Alright, so you can see here on the beach, there's not much really going on. It's just kind of you're sitting here. Or standing here, I should say. And now what we've got to do is let's just try and walk to the north. Alexander hears someone coming. "Five-fierce guards of the isle we be. Watch for a foreign man," said he, "with ears and nose, tongue, hands and eyes. Its nature cannot be disguised. If man it be, then man it dies." So they've been told to watch for a foreign man, says he. Now remember the vizier earlier on had instructed that genie guy to go to the islands and tell them something. So it looks like they've been told to look out for us. "Old Tom Trow, smell your smell, do that which you do so well." So this guy has a big nose. So with the smell, we need to confuse them. And we picked up that really stinky flower. So let's put the stink flower in front of his nose. "Tom Trow I am, and that's all I'll be. My nose knows all on land and sea. A flower of stench has washed ashore, a flower 'tis all, and nothing more." "Listen, hark you, Grosvenor, do your duty as you swore, with your ears please tell us more." So this guy listens to sound. Now luckily we still have a nightingale on us, so let's give that a crack. Alexander winds the tin nightingale and plays it for the gnome with the monumental ears. A nose is not a way to spy, my ears cannot be told a lie. A nightingale is all there be, no man is near, and so says me. Taste, grump frump, that we might know, whether friend or whether foe. Alright, so this guy goes by taste. Remember we swiped a mint from the pawn shop? Let's give this guy a mint. Grump front knows a tasty treat. It matters not what others bleat. No danger is this one so sweet. Trilly dilly, use your hands. Is it a beast or is it man? This guy has the sense of touch. Now, we need to emulate some sort of other thing now. Obviously the tin nightingale is not going to work because it's made of tin, but we have a rabbit's foot, which is made of genuine rabbit. Alexander holds out the rabbit foot. Be all you mad, what aileth thee? A bunny cannot trill merrily. A hare does not at all taste sweet. A rabbit here is all we greet. And the last one is the hardest one to deceive. Old Bill Batter, never fatter. Vision can resolve this matter. Look you now and end this chatter. Now this is the tricky one. So remember when we went through the garbage, we found a bottle of empty ink. Well, that empty ink bottle is actually disappearing ink. And if we pour it on ourselves, Alexander pours the contents of the empty looking ink bottle over himself. By all that's beauticious, fair and sightly, 4 morons do I sleep with nightly. There's nothing there at all, I say. Enough of this. Now let's now away. So basically with this one here, if you, I guess, can't convince at least one of the senses, I think they throw you out to the sea. You end up dying anyway, and the death scenes in King's Quest VI all are the same thing really. They just send you to the land of the dead and the guy asks for a ticket please. So I won't go through as many of the death scenarios in this one as I do normally in the games, just because you get to see the same thing over and over again. So Alexander did it. He's fooled the guards. Cool. So that warrants a save. Oh, this game is infuriating. So every time, you might think I'm a bit of an idiot, it defaults the mouse cursor to restore. It actually pulls it across the screen. So when I'm clicking on restore, it is my fault, but the game really doesn't want you clicking on save by default. Okay. So now what have we done? Well, basically we've just gained access to this island. So now we can have a bit of a look around. So firstly, let's have a look off here to the east. From what I remember, there's a pile of books. Okay. So again, this game is heavily based on fairy tale and sort of folklore and that sort of thing. So we've got these bees flying around. We can have a look at them. The tail end of this island is a righteous scramble of books, sand, and a spider's web. Little bees buzz around the books as through the pages were laden with sweetest pollen. Maybe they're spelling bees. Okay, so you've got spelling bees here. If we look at the books themselves, we try and take one, I think a bookworm pops out. Hey, hands off the goods there, son. Oh, sorry. Let's see if we can talk to them. Hello? Is anyone there in the books? No, there is no one here. Don't know if we can kind of just see if they'll say anything else. No, it doesn't look like it. I'll try and take another one. Okay, so years ago when I played this, I remember I barked up the wrong tree for a long time and I tried to use the incomplete sentence with the bookworm. And always came up, there's no reason to use that on a pile of books. And I'm like, oh, it's an incomplete sentence. It must have something to do with books, but it actually doesn't. The one thing we can do while we're here is we have a look at this spider's web. Wow, hiya, gorgeous. What a luscious looking hunk of flesh you are. Thank you, I guess. Who are you? How charming of you to pretend not to know. I'm Black Widow, of course, the femme fatale of all femme fatales. Know what I mean? Wink, wink. You know, I was just thinking it was time I found my 50th, another husband. It would be quite a horror, I mean an honour, to have me as a bride. Just look at my beautiful weaving. It's so light, so delicate, you'll never want to leave my little nest. It's a lovely web, but I'm afraid my heart is elsewhere, I'm afraid. Drat, I mean, the loss is yours. I'm sure you'll change your mind once you consider the advantages. Now if you have a look here, we can look at the spider. A black widow is sitting in her web. She has long legs and an hourglass on her belly. She gives Alexander a knowing look. That scrap of paper blew into my web from those books over there. The wind just thinks it can deposit anything here. So she doesn't want this bit of paper, but if you reach in here, she'll just bite you immediately. So the trick to this is, you see how there's a loose thread? Pull on that thread. Hey, don't touch that thread. So she moves, and then we can grab the bit of paper. Alexander snatches the scrap of parchment, curious to see what's written on it. And it just says love. The wind blows the scrap of paper from Alexander's hand, but he remembers what it says well enough. So, I don't think you strictly need to do this, but love is the answer of a puzzle coming up later on. So we need to keep that in mind. So that's all we can do for now with the bookworm and stuff. But we will come back. Alright, let's head off to the north. Okay, so here we've got this formidable looking swamp. A mushy swamp lies just off the path. It doesn't look very good swimming, so we don't want to go in there. A stick is stuck in the middle of the swamp. So this is kind of mud, and there's a stick. So that guy is a stick in the mud. This one here, the fallen log has a good sized knot or bump. So that's a bump on a log. So again, we've got more of these kind of fairy tale-y creatures. And these ones here, milkweed thrives near the mucky swamp. Small bottles are filled with milk grow on it like fruit. So we can take one of these milk bottles. Alexander takes a bottle of milk from the milkweed bush. Apparently the dogwood tree doesn't like Alexander standing so close. So that's a dogwood tree there. So again, a lot of fairy tale sort of characters in this screen. We're going to come back to stick in the mud and bump on the log a little bit later. So now again we have a very fairy tale looking screen here. If we have a look, a curiously speckled gate marks one end of the garden. Alexander is standing in a delectable garden. Nestled in the bright green grass are colourful plants growing in orderly clusters. Some of their curious faces peer up at Alexander from the sides of the path. The garden ends at the speckled gate. Now if you look carefully here, we've got some baby cabbages, I think they are. We've got some tomatoes. I think these are iceberg lettuce. Yeah. Is that lettuce growing in the garden? It looks a little chilled. Why, it must be iceberg lettuce. Unless Alexander is mistaken, those plants must be baby's tears. Vines of sweet, ripening tomatoes climb up little wooden posts. Now notice this one at the bottom here is kind of brown looking. Alexander takes a close look at the tomato on the ground. It appears to be darker than those on the vines. So what we can do now, we can take that one. So he's a rotten tomato. Hey, what do you think you're doing there? Get your hands off me. Hey. Alexander picks up rotten tomato and puts him away. One never knows when one will need a rotten tomato. The other thing we can do here is, if you have a look, there's a table. So there's a little coffee table. There's nothing on it at the moment, but we need to keep that in mind. If we walk past here, I think the Snapdragon, maybe got to get a bit closer. Those Snapdragons don't like Alexander getting so close. Okay. The other thing here is these flowers. I think these are wallflowers. Yeah, the wallflowers look terribly shy. And lastly, you can see there's this little black guy with like a little hat. There appears to be a hole in the garden wall. So if we look through it, you can see that there's like a chessboard. Through the hole in the wall, Alexander sees a land that resembles a giant chessboard. Wow, it really is a hole in the wall. Zounds, those wallflowers sure are shy, and the Snapdragons are awfully protective of them. Alexander can't even get close to the wallflowers without causing quite a stir. Now I think if we try and take the hole in the wall, he runs away. Alexander decides to pick up the hole in the wall. A hole in the wall could be a very useful thing. Eek! Alexander startled the poor thing. It runs off to hide behind the wallflowers. So now we can't get to him because the wallflowers, I think, just clam up on us. Yeah. Okay. So we can't get to him just yet, but we can go through the gate. Let's have a chat to these two. Excuse me, what land lies beyond? What land? Chessboard land, you knave. I see. And is this chessboard land part of the land of the Green Isles? It is the home of the Red and White Queens, ruler of the Isle of Wonder, fairest of the islands that owe loyalty to the king of the land of the Green Isles. But perhaps not for long. What do you mean? What is the purpose of unity with the great king and queen dead? The princess is worth serving, but the feud with the other isles is strong. I must insist, Your Highness, I shall send the lump of coal to the vizier and the princess as a present for their wedding, and that's the end of it. And I suppose you'll leave me with only this stupid spoiled egg to send, Your Highness. I want to impress the new king and queen of the realm as much as you do. As a queen of this island, I have every right to that lump of coal. Who isn't queen of this isle? The lump of coal is in my possession. Therefore I shall do as with it as I please. Besides, there's nothing wrong with that spoiled egg. The egg, though delightfully spoiled, is not nearly so valuable as the lump of coal, and you know it. Your Highness always got to carry that singing stone. It is not fair that you get the coal too. That doesn't count. The singing stone was stolen by that horrible beast. I should get to the coal just because my stone was stolen. I'll get to keep the coal. It wasn't your stone. It belongs to the Isle of Wonder treasury. Your Highness always thinks that everything is hers. Excuse me, my good man, but could you settle an argument for us? Which of us should get to carry the coal and which the egg? Remember, white is the colour of deserving truth and virtue. Be quiet, Your Highness, and let him make up his own mind. I, for one, shall be more proper and not even mention the fact that red is the colour of love. I'm sorry, your majesties. I am partial to both red and white, but I'm afraid that I don't know how to solve your problem. One of you will just have to be gracious and allow the other the lump of coal. What a ridiculously stupid idea. Quite ludicrous. Well, he was a lot of help, wasn't he? Yes, obviously a man of high intelligence. Okay, so they're going to hop off into the sunset. You can see the Red Queen lost her scarf, I think it is. The lump of coal goes much better with my gown anyway. Black and red are imperial colours. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Red does not go with anything, being much too self-conscious. White is the perfect accompaniment to any colour. Alright, so let's grab the scarf. And if we have a look at the scarf, I don't think there's anything we can do with it yet. Scarf is made of red silk, so we know it's a silk scarf. Okay, let's carry on. Now we also learned from there that they're feuding because they think the Isle of the Beast stole their singing stone. So again, this feud all has to do with basically things gone missing or things gone stolen or lies being told. So there's a lot of, I guess, you know, behind the scenes stuff going on here that, as it turns out, obviously the Vizier is setting up, but there's trying to divide and conquer the islands. Now what we'll do next is we're going to grab an iceberg lettuce. Now the reason we grab this now is that it only has so long. Your gads, is that cold? Before it will melt. So we need to now go directly to where we're going to use the iceberg lettuce. And while we're going this way, I'm just going to have a think about how we get the hole in the wall out, but I'm trying to think, we coax him out with something. But I do know what to do with the iceberg lettuce, so we're going to do that first. Okay, so let's get our magic map. This time we're going to travel to the Isle of the Beast. Okay, here we are on the Isle of the Beast. Now on this screen there's pretty much nothing to do at this point. All we can do is just go north. And then from what I remember there's a boiling lake. There it is. Alright, so we've got this boiling lake. So let's just save it here. Now as I recall, if we try and walk across it, we just get boiled alive. Which is not too great, but let's just see what happens. Alexander decides to brave the boiling pond. Yeah, that went badly. And soon realizes a deep sympathy for soup vegetables as he learns the truth, the meaning of being in a stew. Okay. At this point, we're just going to restore straight away. But we have some iceberg lettuce, which is really cold. So we're going to chuck that into the boiling water. Hoping to cool down the boiling pond, Alexander throws a head of iceberg lettuce. The pond water slowly stops boiling, cooled by the ice. It still looks hot, but bearable. Now notice there's like a lamp sort of hanging up here too. Alexander decides to brave the steaming pond. Ouch! Ow! Ow! The pond is no longer boiling, but it's hardly bath water. So now, An old abandoned hunter's lamp is hanging on one of the trees. Alexander wonders who might have hunted in these dense woods. So let's take the lamp. Alexander takes the old hunter's lamp from the tree. Now you remember in the town from part 1, we found the peddler that was selling old or new lamps for old. So now we have an old lamp, but we're not quite at the point yet where we want to sell it to him. Now the next bit, we can't actually go too far. As Alexander continues down the path, he gets a strange feeling that he's being watched. Come on over and see what I'm doing with these flowers. Never mind that stone fellow on top of the gate. He won't hurt you. He's just there to scare you. Now see the glint in the guy's eye? Not a good thing. So we're going to save this again. I think we need to get this brick. But we certainly can't get past the archers yet because we need a shield. And then beyond here is about the last thing you need to do in this garden. So let's just try and grab the brick. Okay, so Alexander picks up the brick. So we can get the brick. So that's good. Can't 100% remember what the brick is used for, but I'm sure it'll come to me. Just going to save it again. And just for fun, I'll show you what happens if you try and walk through here. Basically that stone archer just lets go the arrow out of the bow. Haha, got you this time. So yeah, that's not an optimal solution. So let's just restore again. Alright, so all we can do now is just head back the way we came. You aren't going to listen to me, are you? Well, we'll just see about that. That's odd. The gardener just disappeared. The one thing I never understood is if the genie is so powerful, why he doesn't just kill Alexander on the spot. But he always resorts to something else trying to kill him or luring him into a trap. Okay. So now, what we can do, we can use the magic map. And I think now we are pretty much ready to go back to the Isle of the Beast. I think. Oh no, we're not quite ready to go to the Isle of the Beast yet. Sorry, not the Isle of the Beast, the Isle of the Sacred Mountain. We're on the Isle of the Beast. No, we do need to go back and we need to go to the Isle of the Crown. Now the reason we need to go back is we've finished our use of the mechanical nightingale. So now we need to trade that up for another item. Now notice Sing Sing is still here. In the last part I said I couldn't remember if there's a third thing to give Sing Sing, and there is actually, and I remember what it is now. When we're on the Isle of the Beast, there were some roses in a hedge. We can pick one of the white roses and give it to Sing Sing. But we can't do that until we've obviously, got past that archer thing. So that will come later. We might also stop in at Ali's books here in a minute and see about if the Jester has come back. I think the Jester only comes back a bit later. But we need to report to him about some stuff. Your candy dish is empty. I'm sorry, sir, but I have no more mints. Somebody has eaten them all. Well, get some more then. I fear that is impossible. Without the ferry, I can no longer get imports from the other islands, and we do not grow mint extract on the Isle of the Crown. Ooh, I hate not getting what I want. So that's that genie dude again. Alright, so let's go back to the trading table. Alexander takes a closer look at the items on the counter. Now for the next bit, I believe... Do we need the tinderbox? Or do I need the flute? Ooh, this is a hard one. I'm going to take the flute to begin with. Oh no, that's what I need to do. I remember now. No, we need the tinderbox. Because we end up going to a very dark location. So what we do is we trade a nightingale back. Would you mind if I traded this in? Of course, Prince Alex, blah, blah, blah. Alright, let's take the tinderbox. Very good, Prince Alex. Enjoy your tinderbox and bring it back anytime. I'm struggling to remember what the flute was used for. We've got to tame something. I can't remember what it is. It'll have to come back to me. I do know what the red scarf is used for that we just collected. That has come back to me as well, which is where I'm heading now. I think that's all I need for that section. Could be wrong. We're going to find out. That's part of the fun of some of these games. They do have a good replay value if you haven't played them for a few years. And just trying to use your brain to remember, especially King's Quest VI, which has a huge amount of puzzles in it. Just trying to use your brain to remember what sequence do you need to do things and what do you need and when. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the mountain island. The mountain island only has a couple of items on it that we need to extract, but they're very important items. So I want the mountain. Now the next series of things are a series of riddles. There are ways of solving these that are just logical, but in the interest of this playthrough, I'm just going to use the answers just due to the fact that it takes a long time to sort of go backwards and forwards, and if you stuff it up, you have to start from the beginning type thing. So part of these, I believe, was in the King's Quest manual. Some of it's copy protection, so I've got the King's Quest manual here and it's got the alphabet and stuff in it. I think that, actually I might just think about this a little bit more. I don't think there's anything in a book in the store or anything that you can read. All of this I think is just literally part of the copy protection and just logic. So ignorance kills and wisdom elevates. The answer to this one is rise. R-I-S-E. Huge blocks of stone erupt from the granite cliffs. Alexander stares with wonder. That's quite a way to welcome a guest, if indeed it is a welcome. Alright, so on these, you just walk up quite easily. I do remember playing this on a faster machine some time back, and this part was really tricky because the timing was a bit wrong. And every so often Alexander has a bit of a wobble, and he'll sit there and it looks like he almost falls. And if you don't move him along within a few seconds, he will actually fall. And on a fast machine, that occurs almost instantaneously on every step, which is really annoying. But on a real machine of the day, this is quite easy. So let's have a look at the next cliff etchings. A master of languages, and the answer to this one is Soar. S-O-A-R. Now this is from the copy protection. So Soar, if I look here, the S is a thing that looks like that. The O is the thing that looks kind of like a weird face. The A is like a box thing with a line through it. So these are all like alchemy symbols or something like that. there's a little explanation that goes with each of these that's sort of like, oh, this is what this does, and so on and so forth. And the R, where are we? So that's that one we've done for S. The R has a hollow box, so that's that one. There we go. The stone beneath Alexander's feet trembles as more steps emerge from the cliff face. So yeah, each of these, like, you know, T for instance, this symbol represents perseverance, the tortoise, the colour sea green, and water. So they have significance. Again, I think they're alchemy symbols or something like that. Or maybe there's something Sierra made up. I've really got no idea. I know someone in the comments in King's Quest V mentioned that those ones that look very similar to these were alchemy symbols, so that's what I'm kind of going with. Alright, now the next one is just a simple trial and error. There's 4 buttons. So there's only so many combinations you can do this, so I believe the original game people just wanted you to experiment, but it's basically right, left, center, yep. And that's it. Just when you think this is all over, nope, there are 2 more of these. They certainly didn't make this easy for people. I should probably save it on the next one just due to the fact that if I fell now, this would really suck. Luckily for us, we only need to scale this once or twice, I think. And if you do this subsequently, it's a lot faster. I think he just shortcuts it all the way to the top. So let's just do a quick save, just in case I stuff this up. So I believe the next one is another symbol-based thing. So let's wait for the little crown to go away. Sacred 4. Okay, the Sacred 4 are basically the following. The first one is Tranquility. So it looks like a bit of a castle from what I remember. Let's see. Yep, so Tranquility, the mouse, the colour sable, and granite. The next one is Joy, the dolphin, the colour azure, and sapphires, which is like the frowny face. The next one is Faith, the caterpillar, turquoise, and the stone turquoise. Interesting. Which looks like a little weird staircase. And the final one is Purity, the unicorn, the colour white, and air, which looks like a kind of a slithery snake looking thing. Where are you, slithery snake looking thing? With a square. That one. There we go. Of all the islands, this is definitely the most tricky one. Not only do you have these logic and, you know, deduction puzzles and symbols and whatnot, this one also has a labyrinth, which is a classic King's Quest move. The labyrinth isn't terrible. It's not like the horrible one in King's Quest V, where your basic perception and your perspective changes. So if you enter a room from, let's say, the south, then you're automatically looking north, but if you go from the east, you start looking north, and the east was north, and yeah, it just becomes a debacle. Whereas this one is nice and linear. Alright, the final one. All silent, cry the noble boulders. So this one is Ascend. A-S-C-E-N-D. And after this, we have made it. Okay, here we are. Alexander finds himself, finally, at the top of the cliffs. Exhausted, he steps over the lip of the plateau and stands. Why do you make such an effort to climb the cliffs, young man? The winged ones who live on this island have the power of flight. You can have it too if you would only eat a berry from this magical flying nightshade bush. You can see from the glint in the eye here that that is not some old woman, it's just like the genie. See, sweet berries that will make you float like a petal on the wind. Try some. Yeah, let's not. Instead, let's just save the game. So if you eat the berries, you just instantly die. There's nothing too fun about it, and you end up in the land of the dead like we've seen a few times before, so I won't bother with that. But if you're playing through yourself, feel free to. Now at this point there's this giant door here, which I don't think we can open. The huge doors are locked tight. Somebody obviously wants to keep something out, or something in. Something in is the key. Now notice next to the berries there's a cave. I think we can go in the cave. Young man, you offend me. I try to help you and you insist on being rude. I wonder if we can click on the cave itself. Alright. Okay, he'll go away. How odd. The old woman just disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Perhaps those berries are even more powerful than she led Alexander to believe. Let's just see if we can click on the cave. Alexander crawls through the small opening in the rock. From what I remember, this is pitch black. Alexander finds himself in a dark cave. Luckily, we have a tinderbox. How do I light the tinderbox? Maybe it's clicking on him. Alexander takes the candle from his tinderbox and uses the flint in the box to light it. Okay. Dead end, nothing that way. So I don't know if we can get out of here yet. Interesting. Not 100% sure what we're supposed to do with this. I'm sure a lot of you are in the comments section right now going, you're not supposed to be there at this point in time. Okay. No point doing that at this point in time then. Alexander crawls back through the passage to the top of the cliffs. I don't think the tinderbox is still lit. It's worth checking though. No, doesn't look like it. Alright, let's go up and meet the winged ones. Look, an intruder. Hold, how did you get up here, human? I climbed the cliffs. That is not possible. No one has solved the cliffs of logic in several centuries, and if the cliffs were to be solved, it would certainly not be by a human. I did not mean to trespass. I only wanted to visit this beautiful island. No visitors have been welcome on the Isle of the Sacred Mountain in years, not since the Red and White Queens had spies in the guise of friendly visitors steal our island's sacred golden fleece. So again, they've had something stolen too. But we will not display such foolish trust again. You will have to answer to Lord Azure and Lady Ariel. They will determine what will be done with you, and I can assure you it will not be pleasant. With what trickery did you master the cliffs of logic and reach the city of the winged ones? Only the magic of clear thought, my lord. I meant no harm. The cliffs of logic? Is it the sacred oracle's prophecy, Azure? Yes, Ariel. It is lucky for you, human, that climbing the cliffs of logic is part of a prophecy that I cannot ignore. We have just been ordered by Vizier Alzarid himself to dispose of any strangers that might be in land on our isle. But prophecy would have a different fate befall you. The prophecy predicts that whosoever climbs the cliffs of logic will defeat the Minotaur. The Minotaur has violated our sacred catacombs and eats our young in sacrifice. Our own daughter, Lady Celeste, was taken there only this morning as his most recently demanded offering. A dilemma then. Whom shall I obey in regards to your fate, the oracle or the crown? But since Alzara did not dictate how I was supposed to dispose of intruders, and since you cannot possibly survive the catacombs, your imprisonment there should serve both purposes quite admirably. I will not resist you in this, my lord. I shall do my best to save your daughter. First I must tell you that the catacombs are a labyrinth of rooms, a place of exceeding danger. You will need many tools and clear wits to survive it. Azure, he must be allowed time to prepare for the task, if only in the slight chance that he could actually save our Celeste. Very well. Intruder, my guards will take you to the beach. Prophesized hero or spy, any soldier must be granted time to prepare for battle. Be warned, if you have the courage to actually return to the Isle of Sacred Mountain and face your destiny, my guards will have orders to take you to the catacombs on sight. I understand, Lord Azure. If by some miracle you succeed, human, the prophecy grants you with a visit to the sacred oracle. Her powers are mighty, her vision all-seeing. Many of our own citizens will be willing to risk certain death in the catacombs for a chance at meeting with the oracle. May that thought give you the courage to return. Oh, I will return, Lady Ariel. You have my word. Okay, so yet another little quest here. So basically, their daughter has been captured by this Minotaur, and they're going to give us a second chance if we can save her. Now, it's quite clear that, the Vizier just wants us dead, so he's telling the islands that, we're the intruder and we stole their stuff and all that sort of jazz. Now, here's the trick. What do we need to make it through the catacombs? From what I remember, we definitely need the red scarf from the Minotaur. Not the Minotaur, the other thing. The chessboard person, because the Minotaur is attracted to red. I don't believe we need the flute. I'm pretty sure we still need the tinderbox. Oh, this is infuriating, because if we get this wrong, what we need to then do is probably go back quite a long way and figure it out. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to have a little bit of a think about this, and we're going to save it as well. And once I've thought about it, I am going to return and we will continue through to the catacombs. So let's just get that one saving, and I will be back. Okay, and we're back. I've had to think about it. I remember what the flute is used for, and I have a feeling that that becomes important for the next part. So let's just go and deal with that first, and then we'll see what we can do next. So we're going to go back to the Isle of the Crown, and we're going to pick up the flute. Alright, so the flute helps us out on the Isle of Wonder. So remember there was some snapdragons and there was some wallflowers. If we play music around them, I think they begin to dance. And then while they're dancing, we can make a break and get the hole in the wall. I have this vague recollection the hole in the wall is useful in the catacombs. Because we need to see through some sort of, wall or something. But that might come back to me when we get closer. Alright, so we need to trade up our tinderbox. And this time we're going to take the flute. Okay. Oops. Alright, so let's head back to the Isle of Wonder. Alright, get out the old magic map. Back to the Wonder. Okay. So the other thing we need to do on this island, well, there's actually two more things. We haven't interacted properly with the bookworm yet, but that comes later. And also that we need to interact with the stick in the mud and the bump on a log. But again, that comes a bit later, as I recall, because we need an additional thing. Alright, so let's play some music with our flute. May I have this dance? Oh my, teehee. So the wallflower is obviously a reference to, a shy person. Alexander stops playing the flute, but the wallflowers and snapdragons continue to dance, caught up in the music and oblivious to everything around them. At that point, we can snag the hole in the wall. While the wallflowers dance, Alexander snatches the hole in the wall. Okay. So that's all we can do for there for now. When we come back, there'll be some additional stuff that we can grab, but not yet. Alright, so now we need to go back and trade the tinderbox again. And I'm pretty sure there's nothing else we need for our journey into the catacombs. The more I think about it, the hole in the wall is used to see into the Minotaur's lair in the catacomb to give us a bit of an idea of where he's standing or something like that. Or like how to get in, like where the lock is or something. I vaguely remember a tapestry as well, but we're going to discover this all together. So that'll be fun. Alright. quick trade, and we are ready to go. This King's Quest, unlike the well, I wouldn't say unlike all the others, this one is one of the longest in terms of the amount of puzzles you have to solve. King's Quest 7 kind of rivals it, I guess, for length, because that one's also quite long, but this one, I dare say, is going to end up being 4 parts instead of the usual 3 for these videos, just because of the sheer amount of stuff we've got to get done still. Would you mind if I traded in my flute? Of course. I don't know how this guy makes any money. Alright, and the paintbrush, I know what we use that for, but that comes really near the end of the game when we actually make some paint. Which might sound strange in the King's Quest, but yes, we do make paint. And we paint something. Alright, I think we are good to go. Alright, this should be the last time we need to go, actually second to last time we need to go to this Sacred Mountain Island. There's one more thing we need to do even after we rescue the daughter of the King and Queen. Now thankfully, I believe this next bit's automated. And I really hope I've got everything I need for these catacombs, because I have this funny feeling there is something I've forgotten. Alright, so the winged ones are waiting for us. We're now locked in. So, you have chosen to come back and face the catacombs when you could have escaped. I admit, I am surprised. You're either a complete idiot or vain enough to think yourself invincible. And you are far wiser, I suppose, to leave a maiden to die, to not fight this plague on your own people. Bravery and suicide are 2 different things, human. You'll have a chance to renounce your choice soon enough when you lay trembling under the Minotaur's hooves. Not likely. We shall see. Thanks for the escort. We only escort you to your death. May the fates make it quick so you do not have to scream long. Alright, here we are. The dingy catacombs. The catacombs entrance door locked from the outside by the Winged One's guards. It seems that leaving the catacombs by that door is not an option. Alright, we're going to do some savage here. So these are not the worst puzzles in these catacombs, from what I remember. But nonetheless, just in case we get lost, we're going to save it. Now I do have a little map that I've sketched out quite a while ago and kept in a folder. And I should be able to just follow this and we should be fine. But this was a while ago, so who knows. So there's a few things we need to collect. So what we're going to do is we're going to go north. And we're going to go north again. The worst part about this is I can't remember if you can get back in the catacombs later in the game. But if you miss one of these items, you're kind of stuck and you can only do the suboptimal ending. You can't do the optimal one. But I have a feeling they might leave the catacombs unlocked after we rescue the princess. I can't remember. In which case you could just wander back in and, you know, cool. Alright, so if we go in here, there should be a skull we can pick up. Yes. So you can see this room looks a bit different. Most of them have kind of like, you know, this mausoleum thing going with, this, you know, bones and whatnot. But this one here, you can see there's a few more. So we can pick up this skull. Alexander picks up the skull, and I think there's something... Alexander doesn't want to disturb the skeleton. He seems to have all his bones intact, so it'd be a shame to break up the set. So yeah, I don't think we can grab anything else from this room. No, so all we do is find dust. Alright, cool. So, we've got a skull. You might be thinking, why do we need a skull? If that is the case, you are not alone. But it's on my list here of things to get, so we probably need it. Later on in this game, we have to do some magic. And I mentioned we need the paintbrush to do some painting. So, that's a little bit of a clue as to what the skull's going to be potentially used for. Some sort of magic ritual, would be my guess. Alright, so we need to go back to the east. East again. Nice little rat kind of running around there. Now I can't recall if we have to solve... There's a puzzle coming up. But according to my map, you can go around it by just taking a different route. But I think let's try and solve the puzzle anyway. Oh, here we go. Alright. So let's definitely save it here. So we've got all these symbols on the ground here of different things. Now let's see what we need to do here. So there's all these different things. Let's see, there's a row. Oh, it's in the manual. I do remember this. So there's a poem to solve the puzzle. Oh, I do remember this because it's about roses and scythes and stuff. Alright, stand by while I go and try and find my notes on this one. Okay, and we're back. Okay, so there is a poem in the manual. It goes, 3 roses laid upon the bower, a scythe for he who cuts the flower, a crown, a dove, most noble race, thy bones make sacred this dread place. Okay, so 3 roses. So we've got to go rose, rose, rose. Now, in order to do rose, 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 the contrast to my CRT is not that great. Let's see. There aren't 3 roses. Oh yes, there is 3 roses in a row, so it'll be rose, rose, rose. And then the next part of the poem is a scythe for he who cuts the flower. So then a scythe. Now I think the one directly above would be the wise one. Yep. And then a crown, a dove, so then a crown, which is going to be that one there. And then a dove. I guess that's a dove? I can't see what's ahead of me. Looks kind of like a dove. Oh, this could be dodgy. Let me just save it here. CRT screens are great and, you know, definitely give you the authentic feel, but man, sometimes the contrast, especially when you're in a brightly lit room like I am now, works against you. Okay. I'm pretty sure it is this one to the left. And then it says, thy bones make this sacred dread place, so the skull and crossbones. Sweet. Alright, we made it across there. So if you step on the wrong thing, you basically just fall straight through the floor. There's nothing like crazy about it. The floor just gives way, so no great loss there not having tried that a little bit. Alright, so if we go next, we get a point for doing that. That's good. According to my map though, you can walk around this, just it's a lot longer. Now also for fun, we don't need to do this, but I believe, again I'll just save it because I don't think there's any detriment to doing this. But nevertheless, I don't want to get this wrong and have to start from the beginning. Okay. I think Celeste, there's a false Celeste in here, which is the genie again. That's what my map says anyway. Oh, there we go. See the sparkle. Ah, you are a human only and not the monster himself. I heard you coming and thought you were the beast. Did my father send you here to save me? Why, yes he did. But how did you... Hush, there is no time. I think I have discovered the Minotaur's secret exit from the Catacombs. Follow me and we'll both be saved. Yeah, if you follow her, there's just a pit next door, so let's not do that. Alright, so now we need to head to the north. And in here, according to my map, there should be a shield, which there is. So this shield is what we use to basically fend off the archer from the Isle of the Beast. And luckily he's only got one arrow in his quiver. So once he shoots it, that's it. We're good to go. So now we just keep going north. And there should be some gold coins somewhere up here. Alright, according to this, the next room is empty. This might look horrendously complicated, but looking at the map I've sketched out here, you could map this out in probably 15 minutes. Nothing crazy, but for the sake of this playthrough, it's much quicker if we don't just muddle around. See here, there was a glint. Dead giveaway. Alexander finds 2 coins on the skeleton's eyes. He takes the old coins. Alright. Can't remember what the coins are used for. It might be part of the spell. Don't recall having to buy anything from this point on. Well, there is something with a book, but I think we trade for that. Okay, now the next exciting bit. I think there's a room basically coming up where the ceiling's going to drop on our head. And I think the brick that we picked up from the Isle of the Beast is what we use there to stop the roof from falling. But we're about to find out. I think, according to the map anyway. Seems to be accurate thus far. Ah, here we go. It's a trap. The doors have sealed Alexander inside. Alright, and the ceiling is coming down. Okay, so you can see there's some cogs sort of in the background here. I think we just chuck the brick in the cogs. In a desperate move, Alexander throws a brick into the grinding gears. The brick is caught between 2 cogs. The gears shriek and shudder. The mechanism grinds to a halt. The ceiling is stuck. The trap is sprung. Easy. The one thing I kind of missed in this King's Quest compared to maybe the early ones, and especially Space Quest, is the hilarious death scenes. Like in this one here, you can watch the roof come down and kind of squish you, but it's always just the same thing. You end up going to the land of the dead, and it just says "ticket, please." So it's not quite as fun, and you do get a bit of a message saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that" or whatever. But I always found, like in the Space Quest and that, they'd always have some sort of hilarious cutscene. All right, now in this room, apparently there's a pit. Oh, there it is. Zounds, a trap floor. Zounds. Wonder if they used to say zounds back in the day. Alexander seems to have fallen to a low level of the catacombs. Wherever he is, this place sure is dark. Alexander can't even see his hand in front of his face. Alright, this is where we need the tinderbox. Alexander takes the candle from his tinderbox and uses the flint in the box to light it. Aha, so that's why it's dark in here. A torch is out. Like, I don't know how those torches have been burning for like years and years. Alexander lights the extinguished torch and puts his tinderbox away. Like, surely a torch like that would just go out after, 3 or 4 hours or something? I don't know. Who knows? Alright, so now we're on level 2. Let me just thumb through my notes here and find my level 2 map. Okay, now I've found my level 2 map. I forgot there was 2 levels to this. Alright, so I think the fastest way around is like this. This one's a bit more of a traditional maze in the fact there's not a lot to find, and there'd have to be a lot of trial and error if you didn't know where you were going. So we're just going to head broadly east for now. We need to use the hole in the wall to help us out a little bit. Now, I think it's pretty obvious where to use the hole in the wall, or maybe it's not. I'm not sure. I think if you map this out, like now that I look at the map, it's very obvious where you need to use the hole in the wall. So perhaps they expected you to go through and map this whole thing out. But I'm just going to go straight to the location, because mapping this out, there's something in the order of 20 screens maybe. And that takes a long time to navigate. I think it gives you a clue when you walk in here. Something like you hear a noise behind the wall or something. Alexander hears the sound of a wild beast again, this time so loud that the creature itself seems to be in the same room with him. The noises are coming from the other side of the east wall. So luckily we've got the hole in the wall, because if we don't do this step, I think we get stuck, because we observe the beast doing something. Alexander puts the hole in the wall on the east wall. The hole in the wall trembles slightly with dread of the clammy feeling of the stones. Alexander peers through the hole in the wall and sees just another room in the catacombs. You can see the Minotaur kind of lifts the tapestry. Aha! Not just another room at all. So that's why Alexander couldn't find the Minotaur's lair. At least Alexander now knows the lair exists somewhere in the maze on the other side of this wall. While Alexander contemplates what he's just seen, the hole in the wall, frightened by the Minotaur, makes a run for it. Alexander hopes the little creature finds its way home to the Isle of Wonder. And it does, I believe. So yeah, they give you a bit of a clue there, but if you map this out, like screen by screen, you can actually see that this is on the other side of the tapestry wall. But luckily they kind of, give you the clue of, oh, you can hear the Minotaur, so that's good. Alright, so now we've got to make our way around to the tapestry room. And again, this might look absolutely perplexing to you, but it's really not terrible. Most of this map that I've drawn here has just got dead ends. There are a few death rooms. As I recall, they've just got a bottomless pit in them. But there's like, what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms which you can die marked on the map. So that's not too bad. The rest of it, like this path I'm going here, you can sort of see there's only one way to go. So you can't get too lost. And I think we've got 4 or 5 more screens and we are there. Looking at the time, man, this is going to be a long part 2. I think we're just going to get to the part where we defeat the beast, and that'll be it, because I don't want to leave you on too much of a cliffhanger with this one. That would be a bit mean. So you can hear that faint clip clopping in the background, so you know you're getting close. I don't think it's possible to randomly bump into the Minotaur in the maze. I certainly never have that I can remember. Alright, here we are with the tapestry room. So we're definitely going to save it here. From what I recall, all you do is you wave the red scarf. And he just falls in. There's like a pit of fire or something. He just falls straight into it. Alright, so it looks like I did actually have everything I needed to finish this, which is good. This tapestry looks familiar. Now let's see, I don't feel anything. Aha, a hidden latch. Alexander triggers the little latch. A secret door rolls open. Alright, we're in for it now. No, I beg of you, please don't hurt me. Your struggles are useless. It's the Minotaur, and he's struggling with the Winged One's girl. She must be Lady Celeste. Alright, I think all you gotta do here is pretty easy. You've gotta have the scarf, the ribbon's too small. Alexander steps forward, determined to use anything in hand to save the girl, but before he could do anything... You there, human, help me, help! Uh-oh. Who dares enter my lair? I ask you release your captive or suffer the consequences. Never, you die, human. As the Minotaur advances in attack, Alexander slowly backs away. Okay, now we've got to use it. Until he can back away no more. Now where to, little man? Alexander, his back inches from the fiery pit, tempts the Minotaur with the Red Queen's scarf. Look here, you bully. Nice bright red. Red? Now you die. The Minotaur drops from sight amidst the consuming flames. Slowly his scream fades as well. Have you been harmed, Lady Celeste? Are you alright? No, I am not alright. I assume you do not intend to leave me tied up with this vile monstrosity? Of course not. Sorry. Let's see, if you'll give me a moment, I'll have these untied in no time. I can't wait that long. Look, I wear a small dagger just inside my belt. It should be enough to cut the rope. Oh, alright, I've got it. Lady Celeste, here we go. Thank you. You may keep the dagger as a gift for saving my life. That's very generous. Forget it. Do you mind if we just get out of here now? The Winged Ones are pretty arrogant people. The Winged One's guards, bored with pointless waiting, are startled by the sound of rock moving against rock. See the crow here too? Lady Celeste, bid thee well? I'm quite well, thanks to the bravery of a mere human. So much for your superior intellect. Yes, milady. Now bring him along. I'm going home. I see that you've proven yourself the hero of the prophecy. Well, I am expected to thank you for saving my daughter's life, so I thank you. I'm obliged to thank you for the restoration of our sacred catacombs. It means much to our people. We have already begun the process of clearing the deadly traps from its rooms. It is also my duty to grant you a visit with the oracle, so this I do. I will grant you the freedom to leave here unharmed, despite my orders to the contrary from the crown. But there my obligations to you end. I have no love for Alzarid, but he is my liege, and if Princess Casimir trusts him and wishes to wed him, my guards will take you to the oracle now. When your time with her is through, I want you to leave the city of the Winged Ones and never return. I don't know who you are or what you want here, but I will not disobey my crown further. I thank you, Lord Azor. I will respect your wishes. So yeah, it's barely a thanks, they just take you to this oracle and then basically say never return. Hail to thee, great oracle. Lord Azor sends you this wingless mail. It appears that he solved the cliffs of logic and defeated the minotaur in his lair, so I have seen. So this is the one that haunts my pool of late. Welcome, young seeker. What knowledge do you desire? Princess Casimir, whatever you can tell me, great oracle. Ah, of course, the princess. That explains my images. Let us see what we can see. I see a maiden, lovely and pure, but surrounded by evil. She is a rose set amongst bitter thorns. It is her fate to be the pawn of dark powers, and yours to try to redeem her. How? How do I redeem her? Fate is not like the cut of a blade, young one, but rather like the myriad of paths formed when a hammer cracks ice. I will tell you what I can, but what will actually come to pass is up to you. I see that any attempt to reach the girl will force you into battle, a struggle against the dark force. If you lose, your life will be forfeit. Who must I fight? A great darkness surrounds your adversary, preventing me from seeing clearly. I can only make out the shape of a black cloak. But before this final struggle, I see an infiltration, a dangerous game of hide and seek in corridors filled with enemies. The risks are high, but it is the only way to reach the one you seek. There is more than one way into this place. Your choice will dictate much. So that's a big hint. There is more than one way to solve this game. What else do you see, mighty oracle? Ooh, such pain. I see two restless spirits crying out for revenge. Spirits for revenge. Interesting. These shades could help you destroy the dark force if they will be brought back from their spiritual form. Yet this is the only one possible path to your destiny. Is only one possible path. In other words, we can do it two different ways. I'm afraid this is getting beyond me. I know very little about the afterlife. I can only advise getting counsel from the druids. Be warned, the druids are reclusive and dangerous. They might aid you or they might destroy you. Like their islands, the druid's nature is hidden in the mists. There is nothing more I can do for you except to give you this. It is water from the sacred pool. That and my blessing go with you. Thank you, great oracle. So the oracle's told us a little bit. She's basically said there's more than one way to accomplish your goal, and fate is not that straightforward. So, yeah. Apart from that, she's basically given us, this little vial of water, which at this point is pretty useless, but it does become useful later on. Alright, so we've been deposited onto the shore. Now the trick to this is, I believe we can still climb up, but we can't go up towards the, castle-y thing where the king and queen reside, because that will get us killed. But now, looking at the time, we have been going for well over an hour and 20 minutes. Thank you so much for sticking with me. That was a long part 2 for this, but I felt like we had to finish the Catacombs puzzle, otherwise it is leaving it kind of on a cliffhanger. In the next part, we're going to keep going on forward. We're going to try and find these druids that the oracle spoke about, which they're on the Isle of Mists, which was alluded to earlier on in the game about, the isle that people kind of know about but can never find. So we're going to go there, we're going to speak to them, and then we're going to keep going forward. Thank you again so much for watching, especially this long one. It does mean a lot to me. I will catch you in the next one for part 3 of King's Quest VI. Catch you later.